3 little circles left. Just 3 little circles. It's been a few days since I started standing guard at the hospital. The festival ends tomorrow, and with it, the end of August. I come to the hospital early in the evening and hang out in the corner, surveying the area for suspicious activity where I won't be in the way of staff and outpatients. I do this until outpatient reception opens up again the next morning and the lobby starts to get crowded. The entire time, Priest 4 never shows up. I look outside and see the sun setting and the sky darkening. All of the outpatients have gone home already and the lobby has emptied out. My shift is just about over. I open up a reference document app while sitting behind the counter. At night, the lobby is pretty much completely dead. You could work on... I feel like that's not a good phrase, not a good way to phrase that in a hospital. This means I can occasionally hear old men throwing up at... Excuse me. This means I can occasionally hear old men throwing up in the bathroom somewhere and nurses walking around, which is honestly kind of freaky. Gross. That's why I look at these documents to calm my nerves. But it's not quite enough to take my mind off things. What things would you need to take your mind off of? I don't know, the murder lady coming to kill us all? And just like that, Nisan is next to me, peeking at my phone droid screen. I guess she came over here to check on me. I mean, I feel like the whole point is to not be distracted. Isn't the whole point to stay alert? I mean, I guess it's better than like freaking yourself out, but the whole point of like surveillance is to surveil. I sigh and close the app. However, if Priest 4 does show up and I have to confront her one-on-one, what could I do? I try running a mental simulation of that scenario. If she's armed, it's game over for me. Half a year ago, I experienced a real-deal deathmatch against Misane at the TNSC. The only reason I kept any sort of composure at the time was because of the adrenaline pumping through me. Also, you were inside a giant robot, which... I'm not saying it was any less dangerous, but it does... I feel like it has a different dynamic, you know? But this time, I almost tremble at the thought of it. Capture her, huh? She's one of the terrorists that worked under Misane in order to carry out Kokimijima's Project Atom. I do remember she had a very kickable face. Other than that, not much.
ガレージの鍵を壊そうとしているのを見かけまして、声をかけたら襲いかかってきたのでノックアウトしたんですが、その時勝てたのは相手が油断していたからです。まともにやり合ったら勝てるかどうか分かりません。だからもし姿を見かけても決して相手をしようとせず逃げてください。いいですね。
努力はするよ。
もしもの時は大声を出してください。そうすれば私や澤田さん、警察も気づきます。相手もひるんで諦めてくれるかもしれない。
That's the ultimate battle plan. Just what? And then you win. Just as I'm about to nod in affirmation. I apologize for that. That was not... should not have done that. Nissan's phone droid rings.
あ、澤田さんからです。
Apparently she got a text. Sawada-san is in charge Sawada-san is in charging of the back of the hospital. I assume that he's in charge of the back of the hospital. Like that's his area. I think that's what they meant. Nissan's face instantly grows serious upon reading the text.
無灯火の車が少し離れた裏道に止まってエンジンを切ったって。
That's totally suspicious.
澤田さんに電話してみる。
いえ、電話の音で相手に気づかれるかもしれません。
My heart starts to race all of a sudden. I can't help but gulp. Nissan seems to be considering her next move. It's not a guaranteed thing that Priest 4 is in that car, but nothing like this has happened since I joined the team. There's no additional information from Sawada-san. He's probably keeping a close eye on the car. Is this all just a misunderstanding? Or is it... I unconsciously recall what happened half a year ago. But I thought it was over. But we have yet to be freed from Kokimijima's curse.
見てきます。5分以内に状況を確認してカイト君に連絡します。
This feels like bait. I don't like this.
警察に通報を。
They're drawing him to the back so they can come in the front. I don't like it. I say they, she. I don't know, she might have people with her. Yeah, I don't like this. This is so a trap. Nissan starts walking toward the emergency entrance. I hurry after her. Nissan exits the building and I'm close behind her. Nobody's in the parking lot. Not even Sawada-san. Nissan stops me in my tracks with her hand. She signals me with her eyes to stay right here. There's no point in being stubborn about this. Without much other choice, I follow her orders and stay put as I watch Nissan's back. There's somebody behind me. Oh dear. Before I can even turn around, I'm being choked out. Someone's arm is wrapped around my neck, preventing me from turning around. The arm is squeezing my throat tightly. The intense pain and my inability to breathe is about to send me into a panic. Oh boy. I hear a quiet feminine voice in my ear. Is this Priest 4? I underestimated her. I mean, I don't think you underestimated her, you just didn't notice her existence. I promised myself I wouldn't be a burden. Oddly enough, the woman doesn't seem to want to completely choke me out. She lets off the pressure from her arm slightly, allowing me to breathe just a little. The woman didn't expect us to be waiting for her. That's a knife. She grabs a frightening-looking army knife with her free hand and points it at Nisan. A blade. My body instinctively curls up as I see light reflect off the weapon. Oh, that smile too. That's this lady's nuts. Oh, we knew that.
カイト君を離してください。
人質を取ってるのはこっちだよ。
抵抗は無駄です。警察には通報済みです。
Nisan is bluffing. Or maybe Sawada-san is already on the move? I wonder if the policemen that are stationed on the upper floors are aware of what's going on.
中に入れ。
But the woman isn't falling for it.
ミサネのところに行かせない。
I managed to squeeze out a sentence. Don't do anything dumb, Kaito. Please don't do anything dumb. But I haven't been able to break free of the woman's stranglehold. She applies more pressure to my neck anytime I show the tiniest bit of resistance.
中に入れ。
Without much choice, Nisan steps back without taking her eyes off me and my assailant. She goes back into the hospital through the emergency exit. The emergency entrance. Although it's a little dark, once Nisan stands under the lighting of the hallway, I can tell she's growing impatient. Oh, that's scary. She gazes sharply at me and the woman who has me in a chokehold. But then, suddenly, her eyes widen in shock.
なった。
Even from a distance, I can tell she's gone pale. She does kind of, like, I think this is the lady. This is the Mizuka's ghost. She kind of has, like, a similar face. That's what I thought when I saw the picture, but it went away too quickly, or I pressed off it too quickly to really look. I think that's what it is. She kind of looks like her. I don't know if maybe she's related. I feel like that would be a bit of a stretch, but I don't know. I don't know. That's my guess, though. That's what I think that is.
岬に合わせて。
The woman says to Nisan in an overfamiliar manner. Nisan looks stunned, so stunned that she's unable to respond. She's shaking her head sideways as if to deny something. What's going on? Something's definitely not right.
でないと、この少年がどうなっても知らないよ。
Don't kill the Kaito. The woman's arm squeezes even tighter around my neck as she speaks. Unable to breathe, I begin to loudly cough. I squirm as best I can to try and get a glimpse of the woman and... I can't believe my own eyes. She's even wearing her hair like the same way. That's... Okay, maybe not the exact same hair. This is impossible. But she's not just a lookalike. Is she not? Is this the ghost that Michi was talking about? No, she's real. She's strangling me as we speak. I feel like is this gonna go like the twin route? Did she have a twin that nobody knew about? Or she never talked about? Then is it really her? There's no way it's actually her, because like she literally died. Like taken to the hospital. Unless there was some crazy cover-up. And also her legs miraculously healed because she was walking around without a hug on. So both of those things would have to be true in order for this to actually be her. Is this the real Mizuka-san? Impossible. It is? Yeah, I think so. That's bullshit. That is not how that went down, but also guilt. He very much tried to save her with every ounce of his strength. This makes me sad. This can't be. She can't be alive. I saw it with my own two eyes. This can't be. This can't be. This can't be. My guess is twin or like someone who had like a really good impersonator, like someone who had like reconstructive surgery to sort of use her as a cover or something. I don't know, but it's not her. There's no gosh darn way. This can't be. This can't be. This can't be. This can't be. Can't be. Okay, I get it. Can't be.
水川さん。
カイトくん。
おい黙れ。
俺は。
The image of Mizuka-san disappearing from the top of the cliff replays over and over again in my head. I hear Mizuka-san's words of resentment toward me on repeat. I almost collapse in place, unable to stand any longer, and because of that, Mizuka-san's arm digs deeper into my neck, choking me. Try as I might, I can't breathe at all. My chest hurts, my sense of awareness starts to fade, and my thoughts become hazy. I can barely think anymore. It's completely different from when I have an attack.
そんなはずない。そんなはずないんだ。
こいつ何なんだ。
カイトくん、私を見て。
Naisan's voice causes me to snap back to reality. And when I do, she's already on the move. She twists her body in an instant and with a clean roundhouse kick knocks Mizuka-san's knife out of her hand. This chick with the kicks! Naisan then dives full speed at Mizuka-san. That's when Mizuka-san lets go and shoves me away. I stumble forward and collide face to face with Naisan. None of that, thank you. Mizuka-san picks her knife back up and points it at Naisan's face. Naisan remains half knelt on the floor, shielding me.
今の身のこなし。あんたが誰か思い出したよ。あんただろう。あの時私をぶちのめしたのは。
プリースト4、あなたなんですね。
質問してるのはこっちだよ。
ええ、そうです。
Naisan nods her head. The smile on Mizuka-san's face is one tinged with both rage and madness. There's a smile. I was about to say, there's no smile. There it is.
あの時の借りを返させてもらうよ。
You put that knife down, lady. Mizuka-san grabs Naisan's arm, places her knife by her neck, and forces her up to her feet.
来な。
水川さん。
I desperately reach out for Naisan. But I can't stand up. My body won't listen to me anymore. The reason is obvious enough. I'm on the brink of passing out.
大丈夫。あなたは大丈夫。私は自分で何とかします。あなたは何も心配しなくていいですから。ね。
I wanted to say something back, but without being able to do so, I'm overcome by the feeling of sinking into a puddle of mud as my consciousness fades away. It's pitch black. I can't see anything. Where am I? What is this place? I can hear something. It sounds familiar. That's right. This is the sound of a hug motor. It's the sound I heard every time Mizuka-san walked around.
さっきこの音はしたかい？
No, I didn't.
だったらわかる
Yeah,
だろ。
right.
さっきのは
She not only would have had to survive the fall and be covered up that she died, but also her legs would have had to miraculously heal. And they didn't. Really? It wasn't you, Mizuka-san?
たくざまないね。私が生きてた頃から何の成長もないじゃないか。あんな偽物に惑わされやがって。私のことなんて忘れちまいなって言ったのにさ。何をいいようにしてやられてるんだか。ほら、立ちな。一人で立つんだ。私はもうあんたの世話焼いてやることはできないんだからさ。
Mizuka-san, can I stand back up on my own?
立てなかったらあん
You
たのそば
better.
にみんなの力を借りるんだ。この前ミサを助けた時だってそうしたろ。
Yeah, I got it. I'll do just that.
ヤシロ
And where were you? Kidding. I snap out of it to find myself collapsed against the wall of the hallway. The on-duty nurses, 2 police officers, and Sawada-san are all worriedly looking at me.
俺大丈夫か。しばらく放心状態でブツブツと何かつぶやいていたが。
The corners of my eyes feel warm. When I rub them with my palms, I discover they're moist. I guess I was crying.
テロリストと会ったのか。天の寺君はどうした？あ
Yeah, we got a problem. I immediately recall the situation and look around.
ナイさんは私が君を見つけた時にはいなかった。君は一人でここに倒れていたんだ。ナイさんが人質になってるんだ。プリスト4は予定を変えるって、ナイさんに借りを返してやるって。なるほど。標的を変えたということか。プリスト4はセノミヤの命は諦めたのかもしれんな。例の怪しい車には目を離した隙に逃げられた。天王寺君を乗せていったな。ナイさんを殺すつもりなんだ。
Mizuka-san's face flashes in my mind again. Just what was that thing? Why? I can tell that I'm still panicking. Calm down, me. I rub my temples with my fingertips. She's going to kill Nai-san. That's why she took her and escaped. But where? Where's she taking her? I would say it would probably be the place where she got beaten by her, right? She seems like that type of crazy, where she's like, you beat me here, now here's where I have to get my revenge. How can I find Nai-san? Damn it. I can't concentrate at all. I have to do something. I need to find Nai-san before it's too late. I contact Hashida-san as soon as I'm able to. Thankfully, he rushes to the hospital quicker than I expected. Sawada-san and I explain the situation to him.
死んだはずの人間が現れた。ねえ。
Nope. It's not her! Okay. We know it's not her. It's fine. Not only did we tell him about Nai-san's abduction, but we also told him that Priest 4 ended up being Mizuka-san, is what it looks like, but isn't actually.
君島公の例の装置による幻覚の可能性はないって言ったよね。
ないね。理由は前も説明した通り。
じゃあどうして？
I doubt that Mizuka-san had a secret identical twin or something. I certainly hope not. That would be a bit contrived.
委員会が何か細工を？
Like, my guess is...
動いたという話は聞いていない。あくまで今回のことはプリースト4の単独行動だろう。
It has to be some kind of like surgery to make her look like that person. Why? I don't know, but that makes the most sense to me right now, as of this point.
整形手術したんじゃね？
なるほど。ありえますね。
何のために？
That's also where I
明確な
stopped.
答えは私には推測できない。その女が理性的な行動をしているとも思えん。
Yeah, I don't even have a guess as to why, but
あえて目立つような真似をするメリットは皆無だ。
整形の動機として思いつくのは嫌がらせぐらいかな。
he's right. Who knows how Misane would react? That's actually a good point. I hadn't thought of that, yeah. Even I lost myself back there when I saw her. In all honesty, it's disgusting.
なんだよそれ。
Pretty nasty.
叫んなよ、クソ！クソ！
She's stomping on the graves of the dead. It's unforgivable.
問題は奴が天王寺君を連れてどこへ向かったかだ。
Sawada-san pulls up a map of southern Tanegashima on his phone droid.
奴は車で逃走した。病院内の複数の人が南種方面に猛スピードで走り去るのを目撃している。
There are lots of areas in the southern end of the island where both housing and people are sparse. Priest 4 has a whole buffet of places to hide.
逃げるつもりなら港に行くんじゃね？
ならば島間港かもしれません。
でもあそこから出るのは屋久島への定期便だけ。この時間じゃもう終わってる。
Same goes for the ferries that leave from Nishino-Omote. Ships across the island aren't going anywhere tonight.
港以外だと種子島宇宙センターか。あそこは瀬宮と12人のテロリストが占拠した場所だからな。
This is not good. We can keep going like this forever.
立てなかったらあんたのそばにいるみんなの力を借りるんだ。
You're right, Mizuka-san. You're so right, as usual.
俺、みんなに聞いてみます。
みんな？
島のみんな。南種町は俺の生まれ育った町ですから、知り合いは多いんです。
Plus, the festival is wrapping up in Nishino-Omote, so people should be headed home. There are cars constantly zooming by along Route 48, the road that runs in front of the hospital. Given the circumstances, somebody had to have seen them.
そのアイデアいいじゃん。
That thumbs up thing gets me every time.
でも一人一人に話を聞いてたら時間がいくらあっても足りない。島のできるだけ多くの人に目撃情報を手っ取り早く伝
I
えるには
love this track.
どうするべき？
This might be my favorite, like, just of the, I don't know, I love this.
町内放送のようなものを使うという手はどうでしょう。
警察にも頼んでパトカーで回って呼びかけるとか。
それもいいけど、もっとスピードが欲しい。ネットでできそうなことある？
スイポ？
I was just about to say, like, the Twipo, but, like, I thought that would be dumb. Apparently it's not dumb. That was my first... When he said the internet, that was the first thing my brain went to. That's phenomenal.
ヤシオQ、地元の人とどれぐらいフォローし合ってる？
俺一人じゃそこまで多くはないけど、みんなの力を合わせれば拡散できるはず。
すぐ始めて。僕らはとりあえず南に向かおう。
車を取ってきます。
While Sawada-san does just that, I started tweeting about the situation. Clearly and concisely. Nai-san got kidnapped by a terrorist. Has anyone seen her in the last 30 minutes? hashtag JAXA woman employee witness report. It's pretty clear and concise, for sure. Everyone, please share any information at that thing. The culprit is... Oh, I want to read... The culprit is driving a car with Nissan in it. If anyone in the Minamitane... If anyone in the Minamitane area has seen it, please tell me where. I include the details of the getaway vehicle and the general direction it was headed. At the very least, the Robot Club will see my tweet. Half a year ago, people saw us as the saviors of the world for a short period of time. I'm sure a decent number of locals will see this. And I bet Frau will probably come up with a bunch of ideas after reading my tweet. Plus, Akiho knows the locals way more than I do. I'm counting on you guys. We head near the town office in Hashida-san's car. This is new! This is a new track, I think. This isn't... I like it. The highway was just a step away from being packed with cars, so I guided us through a detour. Sadly, we didn't spot Priest 4 on the way over. We don't have the time to leisurely search the island. This is going on my phone for sure. I love this. Nissan's life is in danger. But it's hard to predict where Priest 4 could have gone. Where? Where in the southern region would that woman take Nissan to hide? I don't think she's going to hide. I think she has a spot where she's like, this is where I will exact my revenge. Shimama Harbor? JAXA? Uchigoka Park? Homan Shrine? Hirota Ruins? These Hirota Ruins. I remember that one. Remains of a large cemetery from 1300, 1700 years ago, located in Minamitane-cho. Multiple skeletons have been discovered with armor made of beautiful shells during the excavational investigation. In 2008, it was labeled as the first National Historic Site on Tanegashima, and in 2015, the Hirota Ruins Museum was opened. Neat! Man, oh god, I'm gonna be learning about a lot of these. Alright, there's no time. There's no time for studying. Lives are in danger. Mae no Hama. Switch gears. Think again. Somewhere a terrorist might go. An easy place to hide and kill an individual. Where would it be?
いや、つうか気持ちはわかるけど、もっと落ち着くべき。一人であれこれ思い悩んでもしょうがないでしょう。
He's right. Freaking out won't get me anywhere. I have to stay cool. No point in worrying on my own, huh? Oh yeah. Can I check that on my own or... nope. I have to wait for the plot to do it. It's only been about 20 minutes since I tweeped. God, I hope someone out there saw the car that Nissan was in. Oh, would you look at that? People responded just now. I want to read these. It's going too fast. Stop. I'll have to go back over these. The responses arrive faster than I expected. Plus, everyone is taking me seriously and have started to take action themselves. You said, yeah, I would hope they're taking you seriously. No one is trolling me or assuming I'm faking it. It's also worth noting that he's not really the kind of guy who would do that. So, of course not. Like, if he was the sort of person who would do that sort of thing, I could see that. But he's not. He's a pretty matter-of-fact dude. Nonetheless, everything works out just as we hoped it would. Thanks to the Robot Club taking action, I started getting lots of info from people who don't directly follow my account. Whoa. Huh. Huh. That's a lot of info, though. I feel like Daru would be able to, like, I don't know, he might have some kind of thing to help go through this, because this is a mess of information. I'm truly grateful for everyone's support. They've gotten me a lot of highly detailed information. Naisan might be more well-known among the islanders than I originally thought. As far as I can tell, Priest 4 has been driving quite recklessly. That would definitely draw attention. It's not long before I get a text. Ooh. I saw! It's from Akiho.
アキちゃんも見てたのか。
I saw a car speeding like crazy that almost hit a car in front of Yamato Hot Springs. A lot of honking. Naisan was in the passenger seat. It was about 30-40 minutes ago. And I know it can't be possible, and I'm probably wrong, but the driver looked exactly like Mizuka-ne. Hey, what's going on? Kokimijima again? Is Naisan in trouble? Is there anything I can do? That sure sounds like Akiho. I relay the information I obtained to Hashida-san and Sawada-san.
地図南種の上中交差点を左折か。その先にあるのは JAXA だね。いや、あそこか。
でも TNSC には来てないって瀬宮の貴様が。それと花峰小の前で接触事故があったってのが気になる。
種子島宇宙センターを避けて西方向に回ったか。
行き先をはっきり決めずに走ってるのかな。あの辺りで人がいない場所ってどこなん？
Plenty, actually. In fact, there are more deserted areas than populated ones. However, if they keep going on Route 75, they'll end up at the southwestern tip of the island. There,
門倉岬だ。
of course. Of all the places.
そこにかけてみよう。
I nod as I grind the back of my teeth. Even as a local, I've never been to Cape Kadokura at night. There's a single car parked in the parking lot, its engine still on. If it was daytime, I'd be able to see all the way out to the tip of the cape from the parking lot. But right now, there's only a single streetlight in front of the gate. Everything behind it is covered in darkness. Are they really here?
Naisan!
I try calling out to her in darkness. Yeah, that's a good idea. Just, you know, alert them. Reveal your position. If Priest 4 is hiding here, she already knows that we've arrived. There's no okay, fair enough. There's no point in being sneaky anymore.
Naisan!
Fair enough. They called me out. I hear Naisan's voice. We were right. I'm awash with a temporary feeling of relief knowing that she's okay. But, I mean, she's alive. We don't know if she's okay. She's still very much in danger. Naisan's voice soon turns into a painful groan. She's there too. I carefully walk toward the voices. My eyes are slowly getting used to the darkness. It isn't long before I find Naisan and Priest 4, the woman with Mizuka-san's face. She's pointing a gun at me.
少年、何追ってきてんのさ。邪魔するんじゃないよ。あんたから殺してほしいのかい？
My legs flinch. Nightmarish thoughts revive in my head, preventing me from moving forward or back.
やめろ!
My voice is trembling. I'm shocked by how pathetic I am.
ビビってんのかい？いいからそこで見てな。
Man,
この女が死ぬところをさ。
I hate this chick. I hate her. For so many reasons. Naisan mumbles painfully.
出ないと 次はあなたが危ないです。
I'm hallucinating, seeing visions of blood splattering everywhere. In the darkness, I can see Mizuka-san's back as she walks toward the edge of the cliff, throwing up blood. Her final smile as she falls off the edge creates an excruciating pain in my chest. My hands reach for her, even though she's lying bloody beneath the cliff. Mizuka-san's voice torments me. She's telling me to die too. It was at this very spot 1 year ago that I failed to save her. Mizuka-san's voice whispers to me, admonishing me for being incapable of doing anything on my own. I nearly kneel down on the ground. Even though I'm aware that this is all coming from my inner weakness, the fact remains that I couldn't save her. No, this is all wrong. She's not Mizuka-san. She's a liar and a fake. It's someone else disguised as her. Her crude smile doesn't at all resemble Mizuka-san's. Plus, she's not wearing a hug. Yeah, there's no way she's Mizuka-san. She has her back turned against me, thinking I'm too scared to move. Stand up, Kaito. Tackle! I kick the ground and charge toward Priest 4. My body rams into hers, knocking her to the ground hard. Priest 4 repositions her army knife in her hand as we wrestle on the ground. She's about to stab me in the back. This is bad. I might actually die. But even if I got off of her, I couldn't escape. In that case, I grab Priest 4's wrist and hold it back as hard as I can. At the same time, I can feel the cold tip of the blade cut my upper arm. Amazingly enough, I barely feel any pain. That's the power of adrenaline for you. This woman is legit strong. I try my best to hold her hand back, but she nearly forces herself out of my grip. I can't hold on much longer. What? 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 Daru arrives in gun barrel? What is happening? Priest 4 suddenly freezes in place. She's staring dumbfounded at the night sky over my shoulder. Our savior has arrived! I reflexively turn around as well. And there, right in front of us, stands Gun Barrel. Is this AR? No, I think it's really there. But I can see it with my naked eyes. Much like Priest 4, I'm so astonished that I forget the situation I'm in for a moment. Nai, however, does not. Yeah! Nison's foot splits the sky in front of me. A devastating rolling Sobot smashes Priest 4 directly in the face. Oh my god, that's amazing. I've heard that term before. A kick move used in martial arts such as wrestling. Kick an opponent's stomach with the bottom of the foot by spinning your body. It doesn't clear up a lot for me as to what it looks like, but I can guess it probably hurts. Here they're saying you kick the opponent's stomach. Well, Nai kicked her in the face, so I imagine it hurts. She bounces back and falls to the ground. Considering she's not moving anymore, she must be unconscious. My tense body finally loosens up after confirming her incapacitated state. So gun barrel, Daru just set up like a gun barrel there to be like, look at that! It's a giant robot! And everybody's like, whoa, it's a giant robot! And then I kicked her in the face. The best plan. In fact, I'm literally sitting on my butt. I too am sitting on my butt. Unable to stand back up, I instead lie down on the grass.
無事だったか。
Sawada-san, gun at the ready, appears from the darkness.
ずっと狙っていたが、ヤシオが邪魔で撃てなかった。
頑張れるわ。
Yeah, just a distraction. Upon looking at the sky again, gun barrel is long gone. I'm sure I saw it. What was that about?
ポケコンを使った単なるアプリだよ。
Hashida-san explains as he walks over and laughs victoriously.
レーザー光線を使って空間に画像や映像を投影するやつ。ライブ会場なんかで使うんだ。いやー、霧が出てたからなんとかなった。僕の応用力すごくない？本当はこれスモークとか使わないとダメなんだよ。
I had told Hashida-san and Sawada-san that I was going to approach Nai-san from the front. The plan was for them to strike once there was an opening.
ありがとうございます。助かった。でも、助けに入るのがちょっと遅いですよ。
In all honesty, it's a miracle I'm still alive. Yeah, he's good at those. After verifying that Priest 4 is knocked out, Nai-san sighs deeply and faces me.
無茶をして。特にカイト君。
Crap, she's pretty mad.
私は一人で大丈夫ですって言ったのに追ってくるなんて。無事だったから良かったものの、何かあったらどうするんですか。
何かあったらどうしようって考えるより、ナエさんを助けなきゃって気持ちの方が強かったからさ。
そんなかっこいいこと言ってもダメです。私怒ってるんですから。
でもさ、ナエさんは俺たちの大事な仲間だから。
Oh, hello.
この島と世界を守るために半年前一緒に戦ったし、貫通2を作るためにロボ部を支援してくれた。ミサネを守るために自分の身を危険にさらしてくれた。何度も俺や島のみんなを助けてくれた。仲間なんだからナエさんだけに任せたくない。いざとなったら助け合う。俺だけじゃなくてこの島のみんながそう思ってるよ。
Are you serious? I pull up Tweepo on my phone droid and show it to Nai-san. Everyone's clearly concerned for her. I'm tearing up a little bit. People all over the island took action in order to save her.
仲間。こんなの見せられたら怒るものも怒れなくなっちゃいます。
Alright, come here. Oh god, I dropped my controller. Well, I have retrieved my controller, as well as this kitten. What did I miss? I missed nothing. Nai-san then grabs both of my hands and squeezes them gently. Aw.
震えてますね。
実はさっきからずっとこんな感じ。
見ててハラハラしましたよ。ありがとう、カイトくん。ダルおじさんも沢田さんもありがとう。 島の皆さんにもありがとう。仲間っていいものですね。
Oh, stop! I can't see clearly due to the darkness. But that little snuffle of hers after laughing left a real impression on me. Priest 4 was taken away by the authorities. As soon as I thanked everyone who replied to my tweepo tweep, they respond back, thrilled that Naisan is safe and sound.
本当に参加しなくていいの？
いいのいいの。もう十分種子島を満喫したし。
The next day, the final day of the festival, Hashida-san suddenly explains that he's going home to Tokyo. The island's Tanegashima Waizaka Gun Festival ends today. Since he helped us out so much, I was hoping he'd stay for the after party so we could thank him.
アメ社長から何としても橋田さんを高野菜に連れてこいって言われてるんだよね。
In fact, I was also asked to stay, so I'll be returning to the mainland tomorrow.
そういうみんなでワイワイやるような集まりって実は苦手だったりするんだよね。
そうなの？
そうそう、繊細な心の持ち主なの。
そうだったんだ。それならしょうがないか。
カイトくん、騙されちゃダメですよ。ダルおじさんはいっつも適当なことばっかり言うんですから。本当はすごくお祭り好きなんです。昔はよく祭り来たーって叫んで興奮してたじゃないですか。
あれはまた別種の祭りだし。
A different type? I wonder what kind he's talking about. I'm curious, but maybe it's better for me not to know.
とにかく僕のことは気にしなくていいから。見送りもいいって言ったのにさ。祭り会場に戻って沢田キュンの相手でもしてあげてよ。
あの人もマイペースだし、俺たちの案内なんていらないでしょ。
ですね。今日はビーチに行ってのんびりと一人マカロンパーティーだそうですし。
Solo macaron party.
お礼については今度
That sounds
種
incredible.
子島 T シャツをプレゼントしてあげようと思うんですけど、どうでしょう。
なぜ種子島？
案外似合うんじゃね？着てるところ写真に撮ったら送ってよ。
I was about to say, I'd love to see him wearing it.
了解です。
んじゃ、ダルおじさんはクールに去るぜ。
Hashida-san says as he disappears into the Toppy Ferry without showing any sign of any kind of regret. What is a Toppy Ferry? What does that mean? The name of a jet foil that travels from Kagoshima to Tanegashima and Yakushima. Toppy is also a dialect word for flying fish. It takes about an hour and a half to travel from Kagoshima Harbor to Nishino-Omote Harbor in Tanegashima. Neat.
ああ見えて、実は結構寂しがってると思いますよ。カイトくんのことも気に入ってたみたいですし。
全くそうは見えなかったけど。
そういうの表に出すのが苦手な人なんです。
そっか。まあ橋田さんに涙ながらにお別れされてもそれはそれでちょっと嫌だけどね。
ですね。
ところでナエさんは東京帰ったりしないの？
I ask out of curiosity.
カイトくんは私が東京に帰るか帰らないかいつも気にしてますね。
ああ確かに。
We went through a lot when Naisan said she was going back to Tokyo temporarily last year. But Naisan's original place of work, the Unexplored Technology Research Center, was it? Is in Tokyo.
そうですね。
Nai-san looks at Tanagishima's gentle sunset sky and takes a deep breath.
私の居場所はここですから。
Oh.
私も皆さんの仲間。そうですよね。
Quite frankly, it's a little flattering to hear her say that.
ああ、もちろん。
Oh. Wow, that was a lot sooner than I thought. I thought it was gonna be a little long. I thought there was a little more to the end of that. I'll probably start the next one. Just go for a little bit. Who's Sue? There's a cat laying on my foot right now, and it. Are you happy with yourself right now? Are you comfy? Looks so content down there. Just... Fuzzball. I really love that song. I listen to it every once in a while, past, like, the endings. I just, in my free time, I pop that on sometimes, I'm not gonna lie. Friends are precious. They sure are. A hidden story is, but what does that mean? What on earth does that mean? Yakin? What is that? Path to Phase Akiho. Okay. Alright. Oh, Phase Akiho. There it is. Alright, we got two. Well, that answers my question. What's the next chapter going to be? Because it might. Originally, I was like, alright, there's going to be two circles left. It's going to be either Akiho or Kaito. Although. Those were my first thought, but considering that last chapter was basically all from Kaito's perspective, I guess the last chapter could theoretically be a Daru ending? Like the final ending has like Daru on one of the circles? But he's been sort of the main protagonist, but that last chapter was like mostly from Kaito's perspective, so I guess it could be like the last, you know, true final ending is from Kaito's perspective, and Daru gets the circle. Who knows? Yeah, I'm gonna start that one, but first, before that, I just need this for a moment. This one. Just, give me a second.
Dance with me 悩んだり病んだついより踊り明かすのがいい敵手を取ってステップ踏んで笑い合えば許そう Dance with me ちょっとくらい禁断の愛乗り越えてみよう掛け算で退屈なはずの時間もハッピーに変わってくハッピーに変えてこう
Just on the topic of things I listen to in my free time. I just needed that. I just needed that in my life for a moment. Anyways, on to phase Akiho. Yes. Do that. There. Always feels weird changing the title midstream, but it's more accurate now. Phase Akiho. Oh, good lord. The dark. This is not how I pictured this starting. The darkness of the abyss. I return to the bottom. The darkness feels like it goes on forever, but in reality it may not. Maybe it's just narrow, sealed walls all around me. I can't tell. Eternally wandering in this darkness. There's another word for it. Fear. Yes, I'm scared. Nothing is here. Just the fear of living in this darkness. And the other life that couldn't be. Yes, the current me only exists to embody that life. My life's a so-called phantom existence. What? What? Okay, alright, it's Akiho time. The pre-festival ended. The main event will finally start tomorrow. Work is going to get busy. I'll have even less time for me. Kai is back too. Yeah?
どうしたのアキちゃん。
ごめんかい。ちょっとお店に忘れ物しちゃった。あ、じゃあ取ってきたら？みんなここで待ってるから。うん、すぐ行ってくる。あったあった。
I've got to bring my apron home and wash it. 1 week, huh? Already a week has passed. Nothing has changed between me and Kai during it. Ever since that happened, I thought our relationship would move forward, but Kai has his dream and went to the mainland. I tried not to contact him too much. Didn't want to bother him while he studied. But now we're back to where we started. How do you feel about me? I wish I could ask him, but because time has passed, I'm scared to ask. Is it because I'm not girly? If I was more girly, maybe Kai would... Oh, no. Don't make me sad.
篠宮じゃないか。どうした？せっかくの祭りに新規臭い顔して。
ミッチ。
Things only get better when Michi shows up. Finally, the day of the main festival started. All alone, I groan in my room. Before me is the electromagnetic wave irradiation equipment that I recovered last night. I said it correctly that time. First try. I took advantage of the situation and grabbed it. Luckily, no one was looking for it. Things haven't fully recovered from the incident 6 months ago, so it'll be difficult for officials to figure out the cause of last night's case. Anyway, the device is now in my hand. What's more, the broken part looks fairly easy to fix, fortunately. If we use this, we could do a lot of cool things, but... If something happened today, it'd remind everyone about the device they've all forgotten about. Well, there may be a time when this would come in handy. So until then, let's look into this and... The festival venue was already full of people here for the main festival.
それにしてもすげえ人。
どうやら昨日の騒ぎがかえって呼び水になったみたいだね。
I hear Yashio Kyun's voice behind me. He's also looking around the venue. It's been a while since we've heard Yashio Kyun. It's been Kaito for so long.
おかげで島のみんなは大喜びで。
なるほど。あの騒動も宣伝効果としては大きかったってことか。
Even though it was a major incident, the fact that there were no victims must have been a huge factor. Maybe they want something like last night to happen again. Despite what happened 6 months ago, curiosity is winning. Unless you feel the pain yourself, you wouldn't realize what really happened. Even if you did, you'd forget after it goes away. That's what it means to be human. Well, at least it's good for the organizers.
そういや、ヤシオ君はお昼食べた？
いや、どうして？
僕朝も食べてないんよね。お腹空いたから一緒にどうかと思って。
橋田さんのおごり？
まあ、それでもいいけど。
いいんだ。だったら付き合おうかな。
その遠慮のなさ、嫌いじゃないよ。
Obviously, I could eat by myself. Back in the day, I was alone for most of my meals. It was nice and stress-free. Still, every day alone is a bit too much, you know? Yeah, especially when you're away from your daughter and waifu. The food court was pretty full, even though it was before lunch. Considering most of the people coming to the festival will eat here, it'll be over capacity soon if it's this bad already. Oh, it's beginning. The deterioration of my reading skills has begun. As we sit, Akitan finds us. By us, I mean Yashio Kyun and What? As we sit, Akitan finds us. By us, I mean Yashio Kyun and comes over. Okay. Most bizarre sentence I've ever read in my life.
そういうこと。今日は何に？
オッケー。ちょっと待ってて。
ちょっと、アキちゃん？
Akitan doesn't stop, disappearing into a restaurant without taking our orders.
何が OK なん？
そう。
10 minutes later, we learned the answer. We didn't know if we should wait or not after Akitan left. She came back just as I was thinking about ordering somewhere else. Finally, Akitan appears. She's holding 2 trays. Akitan lays them out in front of me and Yashio-kyun with a practiced glare. Practiced glare? What? A practiced grace. The opposite of glare. Not the opposite. Words. Words is hard. I look to Yashio-kyun, not understanding what she means. He shrugs his shoulders. Oh well, nothing to be done about it. With that in mind, I look down at the tray. I take a bite, thinking maybe something is different since she mentioned it's from a special menu, but it was nothing special. What do you mean that's it? I looked at Yashio-kyun to see how he's doing. He's frozen in front of his tray. I glance down to finally see what's on his plate. It looks like keihan. What is keihan? A local dish from the Amami Islands of Kagoshima. Compared to chicken rice, which is close to rice bowls or takikomi gohan, keihan is closer to dashi chazuke. Take a bowl of rice, add flaked chicken, thin-cut omelet strips, and shiitake mushroom. Add pickled... Is this a recipe I'm reading right now? Add pickled papaya or pickled daikon with extra condiments such as diced dry seafood, scallions, citrus peels, sesame seeds, etc. Pour a soup made by simmering a whole chicken over it and dig in. Okay. Keihan is local... So you can tell me everything I just read. Local dish from Kagoshima with steamed chicken and kimchi eggs, plus some spices and condiments served in a bowl. I've had it before. Pouring broth over it while midway through the meal is also super delicious. But the dish before Yashio-kyun isn't exactly keihan when you take a good look at it. Is that a blue sprat's tail peeking out from the hot rice? That's the wrong peeking. Moving on. Oh boy.
Aki-chan, 特製。
カイのために一生懸命作ったんだ。
That sounds like a threat.
ちなみにヤシオキュン、これまで秋田の料理を食べたことは？
As I whisper to Yashio-kyun, I notice he frowns.
昔一度だけ無理やり泥団子を食べさせられたことなら。
I don't know if that counts.
おお、それなんて恐ろしい子。
あの時はかなりヤバかったね。しかもそばで見てたミサ姉は爆笑してるし。
Yashio-kyun looks into the distance as he recounts that distant memory. I take another look at the bowl on his tray. I mean, there are weird things sticking out here and there, but it looks edible, I guess.
ほらほら、カイ。早く食べないと冷めて美味しくなくなっちゃう。
そうだね。
Watch it turn out to be actually delicious. Sluggishly, Yashio-kyun grabs the chopsticks and scoops up the rice, where it's mostly white, and eats it with determination.
どう？
I don't think that's a glowing review. Yashio-kyun swipes the lukewarm cola next to me and chugs it down. The combination of rice and cola is horrible, but that doesn't even matter to him.
は言うけどアキちゃんこれ味見した
してないけど。
そんなにすごい味だったん？
You wanna bite?
なるなら食べてみたら。
いやー、僕嫁以外の手料理は食べないようにしてるんよね。
Obviously, that's a lie.
なんていうのかな。とにかくものすごく辛い。
だってよくテレビでスパイスがとか香辛料がとか言ってるじゃない。だから調味料と香辛料をたっぷり入れたんだけどさ。
それにめちゃくちゃ油っぽい。
Yeah.
ほらロボットだって油さしたら喜ぶでしょ。
Oh my
だ
god.
から油もたっぷり。
That's not how that works. My foot is full on asleep right now, and I'm too much of a pushover to move it. Thank God I didn't eat it.
いやロボットと人間は違うでしょう。
そんなに言わなくてもいいじゃん。うちだって頑張って作ったのに。
そこだよ。そもそもなんでアキちゃんが作ったの？
それを。
Akitan mumbles the rest.
お？
It's obvious what I thought, but I didn't tell him. You have to figure out this sort of thing by yourself.
そういえばさ、アキタンはロボ部の元部長さんなんだよね。
そうだけどどうして？
祭りは手伝わないんかなって思ってさ。
Members of the Robot Club are in charge of different tasks to help out with the Waizaka Festival. I thought that Akitan being a super robot fan would want to help, even if she was not told to. Oh, I'm running low on literacy right now. It's bad.
卒業生がいつまでもしゃしゃり出るのも良くないし、今は後輩に任せるべきだって思って。
でも、ジュンタンは手伝ってるよ。
ジュンはスペースアメ社の社員だもん。社長命令でやらされてるだけだよ。
So she says, but it appears she's trying hard to put on a front. I think at the very least, it's not how she really feels. As we talk, an unusual couple appears.
あら、お昼ですか？
そっちは珍しい組み合わせだね。どうしたの？
ちょうどそこの入り口でばったり会って。何かお手伝いできることはないか聞いていたんです。
手伝いって祭りの？
はい。
This festival is a huge event for Tanegashima. JAXA, as one of the organizations representing Tanegashima, is of course participating.
せっかくのお祭りですし、私も何か役に立てないかなって思ったんです。
Our eyes naturally turn toward Akitan.
愛理ちゃんは愛理ちゃん、うちはうちでしょ。
そりゃそうだけどさ。ああ、いた。よかった。瀬宮先輩。
Following Naitan and Iritan, the members of the Robot Club arrive, led by Subaru-kyun.
どうしたのみんな、そんなに怖い顔して。
瀬宮先輩、僕と代わってください。
は？ダメだよ、日高くん。秋穂ちゃんには
Oh
私
boy.
の代わりにバトルボを担当してもらうんだから。
勝手すぎわるた。部長先輩は夢女コンテスト担当だろ、上皇。
ちょっと待ってよ、
Oh
みんな。
jeez.
何の話？
ですからロボットレクチャーですよ。子供たちに教えるだなんて最初から僕には無理だったんです。
Without the power of Helper Daru, they're helpless. There's nothing they can do.
その点先輩なら子供たちと精神年齢も近いしうまくやれるでしょう。
Wow! Wow, Subaru. The jeez. You hurt your wrist backhanding that compliment out? Jeez Louise. Subaru-kun, isn't that kinda an insult? Kinda? That's brutal.
バトロボをやってもらうんだってば。
夢上コンテストだってばよ。
I see. Seems like everyone is having trouble with their assigned event and came here to ask Akitan for help. That being said, it's weird that Juna only became an issue for Juna after Michi pretended to get hurt and she had to actually participate. So it's weird that she's like panicking now. She seemed pretty on top of it up to that point.
頼りにされてるかどうかはともかくとして、ことロボットに対する愛情はこの中の誰にも負けないからね。
First of all, Akitan was the one keeping Central T Robot Club alive through staying busy. Plus, she was the one who invited everyone, forcing them to join the club. Again, the one who blackmailed Subaru was actually Kaito, but she was the one who annoyed him the most. It's clear she truly loves robots.
ね、瀬宮先輩。
私を助けると思って。
お願いします。
She did say she should leave it to the current members, but she may budge if they're counting this much on her. For instance, she looks like she's itching to go to all the events. However,
悪いけど、うちにはバイトがあるから。
バイトの合間でもいいんです。
私も終わった後でもいいから。ごめん、スバル、ジュン。そんな。
では早速夢上コンテストの会場に。
you got denied too, Frau.
フラウボーも手伝わないから。
なんだと。
Rejected.
この私がこれほどまでに頼んでもダメだというのか。
To be honest, you didn't really beg.
なぜだ。
坊やだからさ。
Frauton clenches her teeth, clearly at a loss for words after being shot down by the famous line from a man in red.
アキちゃんさ、そんなこと言わずに手伝ってあげればいいじゃない。アキちゃんだって本当はやりたいんでしょ。
それは。
Everyone can tell just by looking at her that she wants to help.
わかったよ。そこまで言うなら決めた。
Full of determination, Akitan raises her head.
手伝ってくれるの？
Everyone looks to her with hope.
この際、
Hopes and
思い切って
dreams.
言っとくよ。
She loudly proclaims.
金輪際、うちはもうロボットには関わらない。
What?
え？
瀬宮明穂は本日をもってロボットから卒業し、普通の女の子になります。
What? The Robot Club is shocked by Akitan's robot graduation declaration. Also, that really rolls off the tongue.
ロボットから卒業するってこと？だからそう言ってるじゃん。
大丈夫ですか？何か悪いものでも食べたんじゃないですか？もしかしてさっきの料理に何か入ってたとか？
Wow.
失礼な。
He's really
あれには何も入ってないし。
getting blasted from all directions here, huh?
もしかして宇宙人がアキホさんと入れ替わっているとか？
That's my favorite suggestion. Full-on body snatcher.
地球の滅亡が迫っておるのじゃ。ちょっ みんなうちのことなんだと思ってるのさ。
Akitan puffs her cheeks at everyone's reactions. God, so cute. But it doesn't matter. Even me, the newcomer, knows Akitan deeply loves robots. Suddenly, she's graduating beyond robots? Of course the robot club would be shocked.
とにかく卒業するって言ったらするの。それじゃあうちは仕事に戻るから。
It was nearing lunchtime, and all around waves of people came pouring in. Akitan has returned to her store, apologetically bowing to her boss. Perhaps she's being scolded for hanging around when it's so busy. If that's the case, I can't go over there and ask what's really going on with her.
どうする？
まあ驚きはしましたが、考えてみればそれほど心配することでもない気もします。
秋穂ちゃんだからね。
すぐに我慢できなくなるに1万ペリカ。
Perica? Currency from a manga which is used in the criminal underworld where gambling is everything. 10 perica equals 1 yen. Okay. Neat.
それよりも問題なのは僕たちのイベントですよ。
やっぱり自分たちで何とかするしかないのかな。
嘘だと言ってよバーニー。
She's talking about Akitan. Looks like they're convinced that despite what she says, she'll be back to loving robots again soon. In the end, everyone went back to their assigned task, racking their heads about what to do. It grew so busy that chilling at the tables wasn't an option, so I grabbed Yashio-kyun and came over here.
なあ、ヤシオ君はどう思う？アキタンのこと。ヤシオ君？
He doesn't hear me. In that case... Just blow in his ear? After leaning over and blowing into his ears, he finally notices me.
何するの？
だって呼んでも反応ないからさ。
だからって他にやりようあるでしょ？
Yeah, I get, this is coming from the guy who used to shove his fingers in people's mouths to stop them from talking. You have no ground to stand on here, Kaito. None.
そんなことより、アキタンのことだけどさ。
As soon as I say her name, Yashio-kyun's face turns grim. Something's bothering him.
どう思う？あのロボット卒業宣言。みんなが言うようにすぐに思い直すかね。
まあ子供の頃から大好きだったもの、そう簡単に忘れることはできないんじゃない？普通。
そんじゃ卒業はしないと？
でもアキちゃんあれで結構頑固だし、一度言い出すと聞かないところあるから。
As her childhood friend, he really understands her.
そもそもの問題は、なんでアキちゃんが急にあんなこと言い出したのかだよね。
Regarding that, I have an idea, but I'm not going to mention it right now.
そういえばさ、前から気になってたことがあるんだけど、聞いてもよい？
何改まって？
ヤシオキュンとアキタンって付き合ってんの？
Yashio-kyun's feet stop as I ask the question.
なんで？
いや、だって幼馴染でしょ？お互いのことよくわかってるみたいだし。でも付き合ってるにしてはイチャイチャする素振りもないしさ、どっちなんかなって思って。
Oh god. Computer. All right. Yeah, we're good. Since he graduated in spring, Yashio-kyun has been living in the dorms at the preparatory school in Kagoshima. Which means it's been a while since they've seen each other. If they were going out, they would be all over each other to make up for the time they lost being together.
で、どうなん？本当のところ。
どうなんでしょうね。
なんそれ。別に隠さなくてもいいじゃん。ここしばらく一緒に過ごしてきた仲でしょ。
It differs how close you feel between each person, but from my perspective, I think we can at least call ourselves friends.
別に隠してるつもりじゃなくて、俺もよくわからないんだよね。
What a vague answer. I thought he was just trying to evade the question, but the look on his face tells me that that's not the case.
つまり、どういうことだってばよ。
なんていうのかな。俺たちってずっと幼馴染として過ごしてきたから、いざそこから踏み出すとなると、どうしていいかわかんなくて。
つうことは、一応そこから先に進むつもりはあるわけだ。
まあ。
I see. Since it was normal for them to always be together, they both don't know how to move forward now that things have changed, even though they want to.
その気持ちわかるよ。僕もそうだったから。
それじゃあ、橋田さんの奥さんも幼馴染なんだ。
いいんや。
じゃあ、昔付き合ってた人が幼馴染だったのか？
ゆいちゃんだろう、ひかりちゃんに、ゆうなちゃんに、あいちゃん、それからしほりちゃん。
Kaito, you really need to get a grip on who you're talking to right now. Like, you really... he still doesn't get it. He hasn't quite fully understood the enigma that is Daru.
ちょっと待って、一体どれだけ幼馴染がいるの？
I probably shouldn't mention how many eroges I played.
つまり、ヤシオキュン自身は怖いわけだ。
別に怖いとかそういうんじゃなくてさ。
Tar's like, I'm very familiar with this trope.
アキちゃんの方はどういうつもりなのか、いまいちよくわかんないし。
After a long time away, he thought she'd be happy to have him back home, but that wasn't the case. Rather, she's a little more distant. So he doesn't know how to interact with her. As an expert romanticist who has transformed many girlies into waifus, I understand why Akitan is acting this way. But it might be hard for a newbie like Yashio-kyun.
そうだね。
Oh boy, is it matchmaker Daru time?
一つだけ言わせてもらうとすれば、それは
Wife senpai.
それは？
男ならもっとガツンといけ。つうことかな。あと、女子は待ってるものだってこと。
一つじゃなかったの？
細けいことは気にすんな。要は自分から意識して動かないと事態は変わらないってこと。
自分からね。
After mumbling that, Yashio-kyun hangs his head, looking down.
どうしたん？
いや、まさか橋田さんに恋愛についてアドバイスされるなんて。
しっけえな。これでも可愛い嫁がいるんだからな。
本当に？実はゲームの中の話とかじゃなくて？
嘘じゃねえって。俺。
I display a family picture on my phone droid and show it to Yashio-kyun. Do I get to see it too? I want to see it too!
この人、本当に橋田さんの奥さん？
どうよ、美人だろ？
世の中ってのは不思議だね。
ほっとけっつーの。
I want to see the family picture! Oh. Since Yashio-kyun and Akitan are both a little awkward, maybe I can help them out by lending my expertise. This can only go well. Let us see how their love story unfolds. Oh. Stop that. Alright, I need to go. My foot is now fully asleep. And I think I think she's trying to tell me she needs food. So I will save the game and farewell.